Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another reading vlog. So you will see me in this ensemble later on in the video, and that's because I am pre-filming this and you will later on see past Claire. So today's reading vlog, I'm going to be focusing on reading one book, and that is A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. Now I am very much nearly finished with this book, but I'm not going to tell you what I think about it or my reactions. And just so you guys know, this is going to be a spoiler-filled reading vlog. It might be a short one because I haven't really been updating much, but I just wanted to film this video because everyone who has read this book has been left traumatised by it, and I wanted to see whether I'd be left traumatised by it too. So if you want to see whether I'm going to be traumatised, wait until the end of the video. So if you're not sure what this is about, this is a book that follows 4 guys who basically met in college, and now they're living their lives in New York, you know, trying to build their careers and, you know, have love lives and whatever. And it basically follows them throughout the decades as they remain friends, and, you know, they go through a bunch of life issues and stuff like that. And just before we start, you need to know that this book comes with a lot, and I mean a lot, of trigger warnings. I have never read a book this graphic before or depressing, so check the trigger warnings before you read this. Also, just a little trigger warning for this video because I do go into a little bit of a rant about a scene that happens in the book, which is about unaliving. So if you can't deal with that, if that's a trigger for you, then skip this video. That is absolutely fine, I will understand. It's just a little rant because I just found something absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, that is what this reading vlog is going to be. I hope you guys enjoy, and we will now pass this over to past Claire, who is either just about to start this book or who has started this book. I can't remember, but enjoy. Okay, first update. This is past Claire because I clearly filmed that intro in the future. Hopefully I'm further along in this book in the future than I am currently. So I've been reading this for a couple of days. I literally read the last book in the Natural series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and I went straight onto this only because I kind of want to get it out of the way. I was sort of in the mood for it, and also I knew that it was like 800 odd pages long, and I don't want this to take up my whole month, but now I'm starting to think that it might and I'm terrified. So I'm only 8% into this book. I know damn well that I can finish an 800 odd page book in just over a week, and that is not going to happen here. So far, the writing I'm finding is very beautiful, but it's also really full on because I just there's a lot of things to take in with this book. There's a lot of detail about the characters' lives, and obviously we're just being introduced to them and who they are as people and where they currently are in their lives and their careers and everything else. And there's just a lot to take in. It's also very jumpy. It jumps back and forward a lot. And there are kind of breaks in between the chapters where, or not, there's like chapters, but the chapters are really long. But there's kind of like breaks in between where it will kind of like break off and there'll be like a little line. And then you're all of a sudden in another character's point of view. And I keep forgetting that they're there. And then I'm going from one character to another character, and then I'm getting really confused. So it's a lot to take in right now, and I'm almost thinking that I should read something else alongside this because I do feel like this is a lot, but I also don't want to give up on it. I actually listened to a little bit of the audiobook earlier because I was struggling that much and I was trying to do other things as well, and I was just like, do you know what, I'm just going to try and listen to the audiobook. Bad idea because I didn't take half of it in because I was trying to do something else. I don't know how any of you guys who work from home that listen to audiobooks do it. I can't. I cannot listen to an audiobook and do stuff on the computer. I legit can't do it. Give me music, I can do that. I can listen to music and read, and that's including music with lyrics. I can easily do that. I, for some reason, cannot listen to an audiobook and do stuff on the computer. It's just impossible. So far, I'm actually really enjoying the characters though, despite struggling with this book a lot. I do really enjoy the characters. I feel like this is giving me very much Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow vibes because this is very much a character driven book, it looks like, which I was kind of expecting anyway. I feel like it's less about a crazy plot and more about the characters and getting to know them and being really emotionally involved with them. I feel sorry for each and every one of them. They're already making me really sad. I originally thought that Malcolm was the one that I felt the most sorry for, and then I've just read this little bit about Willem, and now I feel really sorry for him, and obviously I feel really sorry for Jude. And JB I wasn't really too sure about. JB, I go 50-50 on him because he just has this like crazy ass 50-50 attitude with everyone. He seems to be so chill most of the time, and then he'll just like flip a switch and be absolutely mental. But I do still really like his character, so I'm just interested to learn more about them. I'm kind of just hoping that I can get through this chapter tonight, and then I'm on part 3, and then once I make it through part 3 I'm on part 2 of the book, which is The Postman, because I'm currently reading Lisbonard Street. So yeah, the struggle is real, guys. The fact that I'm on chapter 2 and I'm like nearly 70 odd pages in on my Kindle and it's only 8% in, RIP me. RIP me. I might update you guys when I finish this first part. That's when I might update you. Yeah, we'll see. Little mini update. I think I've decided now that this is going to be officially a spoiler reading vlog, so you will have been warned prior. But I did make some progress today. In fact, I made so much progress I didn't even realise, and I haven't even sat down to actually read this book physically yet. So I decided whilst I was at work that I was going to try and listen to the audiobook, and I'm going to admit right now, it's really helped me. I genuinely don't think I would have got through some parts of this book without the audiobook. So if you're watching this and you're a bit like, oh, I'm really wanting to try it out now, but I don't feel like it's going to be my thing, or I feel like it is going to be my thing, but I'm just struggling to get into it, try the audiobook. The audiobook is actually pretty decent. So I'm actually now at 21% into A Little Life. I am currently on, I believe, chapter 2 of The Postman. So the book is actually split into a couple of different parts, and each part has, as far as I can tell, 3 solid chapters. The audiobook is really weird on Spotify in the way that it's set up, because it looks like there's like a ridiculous amount of chapters in each part. I don't know how to explain it, but if you've gone on Spotify and you've looked at it, you'll know what I mean. But I am now really into it. The Postman so far has been way better than the first part. I feel like the first part was a struggle just because you're kind of gradually learning about all of the characters, like I said yesterday. Whereas The Postman has gone solidly into Jude's story and kind of like his upbringing and like his life. And I'm gonna admit, the audiobook made me tear up already. Specifically when it came to the part of the chapter about Anne. Was it Anne? I think it was Anna, who is his social worker, or was his social worker because she's now dead. Oh my god, that bit got me so bad, just because of the fact that she was so lovely to him and she obviously knew his story, and there isn't anyone that actually knows where he's come from and what his story is. Like, his closest friends don't know, and just the fact that she knew him so intimately and was just so kind to him, and he trusted her, just really got to me. And then when it was like, oh, she died the following, you know, such and such date, I was like, oh, I'm dead, I'm dying, I can't. And now I'm on a part of the book where, well, actually I've gone past it, but we've basically learned about a part of Jude's upbringing where he was brought up by the brothers, which I'm guessing is like the Catholic Church. And yeah, to say it was abusive is an understatement. I knew this book was gonna have a lot of triggers, so I would say if you're going into this at all and you have any triggers for literally anything, make sure you check out those before you go into this book, because it's so, already it's so heavy and so dark, and I'm only 21% in. But I did really enjoy learning about Jude, and it's so nice because what it's done is it's kind of explained certain situations. So there was a situation with, oh, what is his name? Willem, where one New Year's, I think it was New Year's Eve, he basically got awoken by Jude, who had essentially said that he had cut himself, you know, cooking. But then obviously Willem found out, or kind of knew, that he hadn't done it cooking, it was actually self-harm. And we kind of see it from Willem's perspective, and Willem is kind of beside himself. He doesn't know what to do. He's kind of angry that he didn't, you know, spot it beforehand. And, you know, he has in his head, oh my god, Jude is suicidal and now I've got to keep an eye on him, and you know, I have to catch this before it happens again. And he's just feeling all of these really, you know, guilty thoughts. He's feeling angry. And then we actually see it from Jude's perspective, and Jude explicitly said that he didn't intentionally mean to hurt himself that much that night, because he'd actually, I think he said he'd accidentally cut into a vein, which he didn't mean to do. He was literally just trying to self-harm and not actually pursue it any further beyond that. So I do like that, because it's almost like you're left with questions but then they're answered later on, which I really do enjoy. And I'm hoping that's going to be a theme throughout the whole of this book, because I kind of really enjoy kind of having all of these thoughts and feelings and being like, oh, why has this happened, or what's happening with this person, and then having it explained later on. I don't know, I just really enjoy it when books do that for some reason. I feel like it's more engaging. I feel like I'm more interested in the story that way. But yes, I will say The Postman so far has been my favourite chapter. I believe that I am coming close to the 200 odd page mark of this book, which still isn't near enough halfway, but I'm so glad I started the audiobook. The only annoying thing is though, is the audiobook is, I think it's around about 36 hours long. Obviously I'm going to switch between the audiobook on Spotify and my ebook, but the problem is that I feel like I'm going to end up running out of audiobook credits way before I end up finishing this, which is going to be an issue, because I feel like the audiobook is really going to help me with this. But either way, I'm going to carry on with it. I'm actually way more into it now than I was at the beginning. So yeah, I think if I'm going to catch myself being emotional during any part of this book, it's going to be the last 100 pages. I have heard that the last 100 pages of this book are the worst, or at least the last chapter, I think. So I'm not emotionally ready, because I'm already emotionally attached to all of these characters and their stories. And it's not okay. So we'll see how I get on. Little reading update. I don't know if I mentioned this in my last update, but I had to switch to audiobook because there was no way that I was going to make it through the physical copy. It would have literally have taken me probably more than the whole month, and I wasn't willing to spend that much time on it because I do want to read other stuff this month. I've been struggling. First of all, I do really enjoy the writing. I think the writing is very, very beautiful. I think the prose are beautiful. I do really enjoy the characters individually. I do have my favourites, and I do sympathise with some more than others. The story overall though is a little bit tedious to me. It's honestly exhausting. It's very depressing. Check the trigger warnings, definitely, because honestly, if I was in a really bad headspace, I'm not sure how well I would have coped with this book. But it's a lot, and obviously we're kind of centered around Jude, and at first I felt really sorry for Jude, and I do still feel really sorry for Jude and what he's gone through, but at times I find myself being really unsympathetic, and he's just so annoying. And I don't know if that's me being an arsehole, but there are certain times, like there's just certain things that are repeated so many times, like in his friendship, and then when he gets in a relationship with Willem, someone will say to him, oh, you know, do you want to talk about it? And he's like, no, I can't. Do you want to talk about it, Jade? I can't. And I don't know if part of that is because I'm listening to the audiobook, because Jude almost comes across very whiny at times. Like the voice that the narrator does is very like, I can't. It's so whiny and it's annoying me. I could only get through this with audiobook. I've only teared up a couple of times, but I haven't full on cried, and I have just got past the bit where Willem and Malcolm died in a car crash. Honestly, this book feels like a car crash. It's one thing after the other, and like maybe the point is that this book is supposed to show a guy who's really always down on his luck and can't get out of it, and I have read that that was the point. Even in his happiest moments, he's not happy, and it's bothering me. It just, oh, and okay, I need to speak about this because I had a rant about this to my friend Sophie. So trigger warning for unaliving, suicide, whatever, like trigger warning for that. I'm just going to speak about that for a second. There is a scene where Jude is a boy in a motel room with brother Fraser, and eventually the police come knocking and they're like, so and so, open up, we have a warrant for your arrest. And so Brother Fraser turns around to Jude and he's like, be quiet, like don't say anything. Brother Fraser goes into the bathroom. During this time he manages to himself on what I don't know, because this dude is like 6 foot something, so he must weigh a bit as well. Even though he's been described as skinny, like he still must weigh a bit. He's like 6 foot something. And the police come through, and then when they get through the bathroom they're like, someone call an ambulance. But he dies. And I just, in my head, I'm like, realistically, first of all, what did this guy, like, you know, hang wrong? And second of all, how the hell, in the time that the police knocked and then got through the motel room and into the bathroom, did he manage to concoct this little, you know, device and, you know, and now he's dead? Just logistically, that whole scene isn't making sense to me. Maybe it's me being stupid, but that whole scene really annoyed me, because after I thought about it I was like, hang on a minute. This doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It feels like it's been tied up just for the sake of being tied up. What else can I talk about? I really enjoyed the scene where Jude finally got adopted. That was cute AF. And I really loved the scene where Harold stood up for Jude in front of, is it Caleb? Yeah, I think it's Caleb. Who was his abusive ex. Oh my god, this guy has been, this is what I mean. He goes through so much stuff, and the story almost seems too ridiculous. And then when it got to the part where Malcolm, Sophie and Willem are in the car and it gets hit by a truck, as soon as it said that it was getting hit by a truck, I rolled my eyes. I rolled my eyes. This wasn't the reaction that I thought I was going to be having to this book, and I literally feel like such an insensitive arsehole for even moaning about the things that I'm moaning about. It's got to the point where I feel like this book is so ridiculous, and I do believe somewhere someone described this book as torture porn. And honestly, I think I agree with them. It's just one thing after the other, and there's a lot of talk about like self-harm, and it's a lot. It's just a lot for the sake of being a lot at this point, and I just don't feel anything. Like when Willem and Malcolm died, I felt more shocked than I did like I wanted to cry. And honestly, I'm gonna call it now. I'm 2 hours away from finishing the audiobook. I am gonna finish it on audio. I can't deal with reading it. I've already started another book, but I'm calling it now that Jude is gonna unalive himself. That's what I'm going with. I reckon that's what's gonna happen. Maybe it won't, maybe it will surprise me, but I really reckon that's what's gonna happen. He's gonna find his 13th reason, one of his reasons being Willem, and that's gonna be it. I really, honestly, this book felt so promising at the beginning, and I was like, oh, it's like a very character-driven book, and I love that. This just wasn't for me, and it's not that the writing's gone over my head. I think the writing's beautiful, and there have been some really beautiful moments, and I love the friendship, and I love the relationships that are talked about, and I do really like some of the issues that are talked about as well. But it's too much. It's too much for the sake of being too much. And maybe someone watching this will understand what I'm talking about, but I don't know. I just don't think this book is for me. I'll finish it out just to see how it ends, but honestly, I can't wait for it to finish now. In the meantime, whilst I have been listening to the audiobook, I have been very, very productive. I've been making my friendship bracelets for the Eras tour because I needed some light in my life. I've gone with these, it's not gonna focus. I've gone with these like fabric ones with these gold kind of lettered beads, so they kind of look like that. They're adjustable, so they're gonna fit a bunch of people, including kids, because I'm really hoping there are gonna be some, sounds really weird to say, but I'm hoping there are gonna be some little girls there. And obviously I mean, my wrists are tiny, but theirs are probably gonna be a lot smaller, so hopefully this will fit guys too, because guys usually have bigger wrists and hands. So I love them, they're cute, and I've made a bunch, but now I'm left with a bunch of letters and basically no vowels, and I don't even know what to do with that. So I'm gonna have to get my thinking cap on because I have way too many beads to waste. I don't want to do acronym ones because then I feel like you sit there for ages going, oh, what's that one stand for? And it's really stupid. So all of these ones that I have, maybe besides one possibly, I'm not sure, are all full worded bracelets, which maybe is why I've run out of vowels, but whatever, like we're just going with it. Okay, this is officially going to be my last update. I have my headphones at the ready, my phone is here. I'm gonna listen to the last remaining minutes of A Little Life because I'm pretty sure I have less than 10 minutes left. Now, I did start listening to the last chapter earlier, and I just found that with Jude's chapter, which was the one prior, and the start of this one, I was just finding myself getting really choked up, and I just wanted to be in an environment where I can feel free to cry and not be embarrassed about it, except for the fact that I'm probably going to put this online for everyone and their mother to see, because that's not embarrassing. I just wanted to have an environment where I was free to feel all the things, so I'm going to listen to the last remaining minutes now. Please give me your thoughts and prayers. I'm going to need them. Also, it's been a long time since I've had to put my little mini light on. It's really gloomy outside. What is this weather? I'm sorry, anyone who doesn't live in the UK will never understand why we're so miserable. This is the reason. Literally, we had wall-to-wall sunshine recently, and now we've gone back to full-on rain and doom and gloom, and it's just awful. So I'm going to put myself in a really good mood now. Why is everyone dying? Oh. I didn't even like JB and I feel sorry for him. What the fuck? Oh no. Oh, this hurts so bad. I shouldn't have read this. Oh, Harold. Why would you do that? That was such a crime. I've held it in for that whole book. And Harold's chapter just really got me. You know what really set me off? It was that bit where he was like, oh god. He was like, he could be the flower on the street, or he could be the cloud in the sky. And then he was like, and so I tried to be kind to everything. Oh my god, I'm hurting so bad right now. And then when he was like, it's not why or how he died, it was the fact that he died believing what he did. I shouldn't have read this book, bro. I was having a really bad day today, and this just made it worse. I can't breathe through my nose. Also, the fact that I feel sorry for JB, and I didn't even like his character. I hated him. Those last two chapters were a lot. I don't even know what to say. I made a TikTok yesterday where I was like, I haven't even cried yet. Like, I got to a certain bit, which was basically Willem's death, and I didn't cry. I got a little bit like, oh, you know, choked, but I didn't cry. Harold, Harold, what have you done? Oh, that really hurt. I don't think I've cried that much in ages. I don't think I've felt for a book that much in ages. I can see why people really like this. I think if this was an 800 odd pages long and I hadn't felt as if the journey through this book was so sluggish and tedious, then it possibly would be a high rating for me. But when I think back to a lot of the scenes in this book, the only things that I recall are like all the self-harm scenes, and it was a lot. It was a bit too much, and I don't know, I feel like maybe this book could have been cut down. I still really did love the writing. The writing was beautiful, and I definitely think that this, not necessarily the book or the plot, but certainly the characters will stay with me. Especially certain characters, like Harold will definitely stay with me, and Willem will definitely stay with me. I don't know why, but whenever I think of Willem, I think of the guy out of, what's Lee Bardugo's duology? Ninth House? You know, the little rich boy from that? I don't know why, he gives me Willem vibes. I don't know. I don't know where I got that from. He makes me think of Willem. I still think that this was a lot. I really enjoyed the last 2 chapters. I think that I've enjoyed... The thing is with this book, I feel like there are certain parts that I've enjoyed more than the book as a collective whole. Like there are certain scenes that I really enjoyed, or certain moments between characters that I really enjoyed, but I didn't love the book overall. The last 2 chapters, loved. They definitely made the emotional impact that they needed. I was trying to listen to it earlier without crying. Jude's chapter, honestly today has been a little bit of a, oh god, today's been a bit of a dippy day for me, so probably wasn't best to listen to this. But Jude's chapter hit a little bit too close to home during certain bits, and I think in a way that's why I found this book so hard to get through, because sometimes when you've thought certain things and then you, oh god, you see that reflected back at you, not good. Not good, besties. Oh, I don't even know what I'm gonna rate this. I think at the minute I'd give it a solid 3-star. I kind of want to give it a 4-star. I think I'm gonna sit on it for a little bit, and I'll either put a little thing here to say what I rated it, or I'll put it in the description. But I do think that it's one of those books that stays with you in some way. I get it. I get why people love it. There are still bits that I would look back on and be like, yeah, that really annoyed me and I hated it and it was just frustrating, and I think I'm gonna give it a 3-star. I'm gonna give it a 3-star just for emotional impact, the fact that I really enjoyed some of the characters and their stories. I think the issue for me is reading such a sad story all the time. I don't mind reading a sad story, I'm no stranger to that. I don't even mind having a cry every now and again, it's very cathartic. But I think the issue for me is, I feel like even in the saddest stories there's always a light, and there's not really a light in this book. It's just doom and gloom. And even when there are supposed to be happy moments, like there is one moment where Jude says he is at his happiest, and I think it's when they're celebrating the fact that he's got adopted. He's even really like depressed then, and I get that mental health doesn't leave you, like it's not a, you know, on and off switch thing. Even in those moments where he's like, oh, I actually feel true happiness, you don't overly feel that happy. And I think this is just a really difficult book to read, and I don't blame people for not wanting to read it, I'm not gonna lie. I think if I was in the mood that I've been in today, there's no way that I could listen to this audiobook or read the book. I couldn't do it. Am I annoyed that I've spent so much time on it and read it? No, I don't feel like I've wasted my time. I still think there are things that annoy me about the book, but overall it was okay, and it really hit me hard at the end there, if you couldn't tell. Anyway, I hope you've all enjoyed this spoiler reading vlog with me breaking down at the end. I love it when I break down at the end of a reading vlog. It's always so fun and embarrassing. Tanya Yanagihara, count your days. That was uncalled for. And if any of you guys have made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching, first of all. And second of all, if you have read this book, then let me know what you thought about it in the comments, because I'd be really interested to see. I've seen a lot of really positive reviews. A lot of people love this book and have nothing bad to say about it. But I have seen a couple of videos where people do have negative things to say about it. So let me know in the comments where you stand. If you enjoyed this video and you enjoyed seeing me have an absolute breakdown, then click that thumbs up button. It lets me know that you like my content. And if you want to see more content from me, where sometimes I do cry over books, then please feel free to subscribe so you can see all of my available content in the future. And until the next video, when hopefully I'm a bit more cheery, I will see you then. So bye guys.